Welcome back. You're watching our broadcast of the 89th running of the Comrades Marathon, and that's what it's all about. All of the emotions, the heart, the determination, what has happened over the last 10 and a half hours out on the road, that all come flooding in the way of emotions when you cross that finish line. And that is pure and true what you are seeing there on your screen. That is what the Comrades Marathon is all about. It's the triumph of the human spirit. It's showing that you can do absolutely anything if you put your mind to it. We've seen a lot of moments like that. We've seen a lot of inspirational things in this edition of the Comrades Marathon. Now I'm sitting at the studio, which is at Sahara Stadium, Kingsmead. We're just a little bit above the ground where you are actually catching these pictures. And there's about 15 minutes to go before the bronze cutoff. The bronze cutoff is, of course, those people that complete the journey within 11 hours. And for many people, they say that you have to actually reach that mark to be able to say that you've done the Comrades. But, the very first race in 1921 and the very first marker was that you could finish this race within 12 hours. So, of course, a lot of people for the next 15 minutes will be chasing that 11-hour mark to get the bronze medal, and some looking very, very fresh. Now, in studio with me, I've got the Chief Marketing Officer of the Road Accident Fund, Nazipa Jafta. Now, you'll remember a little bit earlier on at Durban, which is the halfway point, they had a wonderful support base at Durban. And in studio is the Chief Marketing Officer, Nazipa Jafta. Thank you very much for coming inside. You guys had a wonderful setup there at Durban, and once again it was the spectator hotspot that we've come to expect it to be.
Yes, thank you very much. It was amazing. We were there, we supported the runners. We just had so much fun. And we also used this opportunity to actually talk to the runners themselves, because we found a lot of them who finished at the halfway mark, where we engaged them about road safety. So it's been an amazing day, and the halfway mark is just where it happens, and we're just happy to be part of that excitement.
You mentioned spreading the message of road safety with some of the runners. What were you telling them?
Look, we've had a lot of situations where road runners get involved in car accidents. And we've identified the Comrades Marathon as a platform for us to educate road runners, because we classify them as a vulnerable grouping. Road runners, cyclists, pedestrians. If you look at the statistics, over 40% of people who get involved in car accidents are pedestrians or runners. And we've had a lot of that experience. So we use this opportunity to educate people about how they can access the Road Accident Fund, but at the same time tell them about, road safety, how to obey the rules of the road. You make sure that the drivers can see you, make sure that you are on the right side of the road, and just be cautious when you're running on the roads. That's why we call them a vulnerable grouping. So we take it upon ourselves as the Road Accident Fund to use this opportunity to help them and to educate them about how they can access us.
Nazipa, I just want to confirm, you said 40% of road accident or pedestrians. Are you including cyclists and runners in that figure?
Yes, that's quite high.
It is an absolute war out there, and too often we hear of horrific stories of people that enjoy a healthy lifestyle, people that are role models in the communities, runners and cyclists, being knocked over. Now, you mentioned that you guys are running a campaign to try and make those vulnerable groups aware. But what about the other side of the spectrum, those car users?
Well, we've got different campaigns that we run. We talk to drivers, we talk to passengers, we talk to pedestrians, we talk to runners, we talk to scholars. We find that even if you look at school children, when they travel to school, they get into these buses. We actually try and educate the drivers, the taxi drivers, to make sure that they are cautious because they've got kids that they are carrying. We talk to taxi drivers. So we use different initiatives to talk to all South African road users, because remember, as the Road Accident Fund, we cover compensate and rehabilitate all road users within South Africa. So it is in our interest that people are cautious on the road, because if we can reduce the number of accidents that are happening on our roads, we will be able to reduce the liability of the fund. So it is in our interest to actually get involved in road safety.
Well, Naziba, you bring up a very, very important thing, and that is road safety in South Africa. I mean, we've mentioned the horror of 40% of pedestrians, those people that are involved in accidents actually being pedestrians. That includes cyclists and runners. I mean, it's a really scary statistic. But then, of course, you have people in vehicles, and in our own race today, we saw an accident. Come and look at the left-hand side of this picture. So this is quite late on in the race. It's past halfway, and there you go. This happened earlier on today.
That's scary.
Absolutely. I mean, it's broad daylight. There are people that are sitting there on the side of the road. That half of the road is completely blocked off, and there were spectators actually sitting on the barrier. And this is what's happening all the time on South African roads.
It does. It's really about the driver behavior as well. There's a campaign that we run as a fund that says road safety begins with you as an individual. The minute you get out of your house and you get into a car, you need to understand that you have to be responsible, because you're not just driving for yourself. There are other people that are affected by your behavior. I mean, if I look at what I've just seen now, that's hectic. And it looks like that car was actually driving at a very high speed. And you've got people around this area. What was the point? And just to make a point as well, if you are the only person, because it's only one car that is involved, if you are the only person that is involved in an accident, you are the cause of the accident, we don't cover you. If we do not cover the person who is the cause of the accident, who is at fault, and if I look at what I've just seen now, it's actually quite scary. And that's what we try and tell the people, that you don't have to. I mean, if you look at that speed, I'm sure that's a 60 kilometer zone, and that it looked like that was very fast, and there are people around. So we're just saying to the people, just be cautious. If you look at road runners, we've had an accident some time ago in Midrand where 4 runners and people died on that road. It's not necessary, So as the fund and being the agency of the Department of Transport, we try and educate people to obey the rules of the road. That's what it is. I mean, we get involved with the youth. Don't text and drive. Don't drink and drive. Just obey the rules of the road, and we will reduce the number of accidents that are happening on our roads. So we feel that we are responsible as a fund. We feel that we have that responsibility to educate people about obeying the rules of the road, which is why we get involved in this kind of initiatives. I mean, we do the AGA cycling, we do all these road running initiatives. We get involved where we find that people drive to those areas. We follow the people. We take our services to the people, and we also tell them that in the event, in the unfortunate event where you find yourself in an accident, at least you need to know what to do. You need to know how to contact us. You need to know what you can claim for. You need to know how you can engage the fund. So that's why we identify such platforms, so that we can really spread the word and tell the people that we are there for them.
Absolutely, and I really hope that you've hit a nerve for a couple of people, because we have seen young talent on our roads being robbed of their lives. Barry Stander being one of them, an Olympic moto, mountain bike, cross-country athlete. He was one of our shining lights, being taken far too soon. Those 5 runners in Midrand who were also ploughed down by a vehicle. So these are things that we do not want to be seeing on our roads, and we wish the Road Accident Fund all the best of luck in actually trying to raise awareness, because you really don't have a very easy job. As we saw there, we had an accident live on South African television today while we were busy running the Comrades marathon, something that is supposed to speak to the spirit of camaraderie, the spirit of oneness, and really it's an event where South Africans stand together for a common cause. So we don't want to be seeing things like that, and it's very unfortunate. Naziba Jafta, who is the Chief Marketing Officer of the Road Accident Fund, thank you very much for chatting to us here on SABC Sport. All right, it's time now for us to take a break. Stay with us. All right, thank you.
As we raise the skills of South Africans, we move to a more prosperous tomorrow. For over 12 years, KETHSITA has contributed to raising skills in the tourism and travel, hospitality, conservation, sports, recreation and fitness, arts and culture and heritage, and gaming lotteries sector through the partnership with business, communities and government. KETHSITA, Sustainable People Development for Prosperity.
With 15 seconds on the clock in the opening half, Africa strikes, Ghana strikes, and he hits the bar.
Catch the 2014 FIFA World Cup from the 12th of June to the 13th of July on SABC TV and radio.
Welcome back to live coverage of the 2014 Comrades Marathon as we have 6.5 minutes to go to the bronze medal cut-off at 11 hours. Runners completing in the final hour of the Comrades Marathon, of course, earning the Vic Clapham medal. But these runners, they'll need to get a bit of a move on now, although they're really close to the stadium, getting just outside the stadium. Sometimes it does take an extra few minutes to get round on the soft grass, but certainly looking to get to the finish line with a bronze medal finish as we approach, it's now 6 minutes to go to the bronze medal cut-off. Those for runners finishing between 9.5 and 11 hours. Still some looking fairly fresh out on the course. A couple of runners running in the colours of their country, some representing a lot of Brazilian and Japanese athletes I've seen coming in. One of the SABC runners as well. Of course, the colourful hairdos continue. Some of my old club, Jeppy Condom, saw a moment ago. There's a couple of the Rand Athletic Club athletes coming in as well, Bruce. But we've seen some interesting runners coming in. Is that a lot of Cape Townian clubs all of a sudden starting to make their way into the stadium as well?
Well, this matters to a lot of the runners. The difference between a bronze and a Vic Clapham. The old school runners will say they don't want a Vic Clapham medal. Of course, a Vic Clapham medal is still a finisher's medal at Comrades and it's completely official. But there are a lot of runners who say, no, for them the cutoff is 11 hours and they want that bronze rather than a Vic Clapham.
Some running for the memory of their friends and family, others doing this for themselves, but this is certainly running for either friend or family member. Fani Fashir being remembered by the finisher coming home now onto the green grass, and he'll earn himself a bronze medal in today's race. Just an update from a couple of the runners you might have been looking out for. Alan Robb completing a 41st Comrades Marathon, would you believe? And Bruce might not have the fondest of memories of Alan Robb always, but you beat Alan a few times. He beat you a couple of times as well.
We had a couple of very tough races on this down run in 1980 and 1982. The scores 1-1. But I was thrilled to see Alan finish in about 8:45. That means he got a Bill Rowan medal, because last year in those terrible conditions he finished 2 hours slower and in some distress. So it was great to see him come in.
It's about 8:45, and Louis Massain as well, earning a 42nd Comrades medal, would you believe, with finishing at around 10 hours 30. Some celebrations for some athletes crossing the finish line, but an athlete collapsing mere meters from the finish line as well, and we've seen that in previous Comrades as well, Willie, and this is something you never want to see.
Yeah, ama-athletes siyabona njengamanje kunzima ngempela, siyabona ukuthi sezidumela khona emansumpeni-ke njengamanje sekuzoshaya i-cut of time. Siyabona ukuthi ke ngendlela asebengena ngayo ama-athletes, siyabona ukuthi asengena abamaningi. Siyabona nayo insizwa laphana-ke iyaqabula labaphasithi hayi-ke ngaze ngaliqeda lo suku olunzima kangaka. Siyabona insizwa ukuthi enye zithi ziqede, zithi hayi no more again, kodwa enye ithi hayi no, ngizobuya ngizophinda ngigijime yokugcina.
So bronze medal cutoff happening in just over 3 minutes' time, as emotional scenes for some of these athletes coming home. And of course, as Bruce mentioned as well, barefoot and looking healthy enough. He's not going to finish in under 11 hours, but
he looks a bit lost.
He does, but I think he's just enjoying himself in the final stretch here. There's maybe the realization that, okay, not going to claim a bronze medal, but I'll just make sure I get across the finish line.
Well, the runners coming past him think that they can get a bronze medal, so they're still trying.
There's a couple that are hurrying along, certainly. A few of the SABC runners as well. Well, he's got some dance moves, but it's not going to earn him a bronze medal, disappointingly. 2.5 minutes to go to the cutoff. Oh, wonderful emotion as well. Hugs and kisses for all those completing. Congratulations, David. He's feeling a bit tired. Yes, he's nodding to the camera, but at least he's got enough energy to be able to do that. He looks at his watch, says I did it in 11 hours, less than 11 hours. So 5 runs for him. He's halfway to his green number.
One of the runners from the Legends Club, probably feeling not much like a legend at this stage, but well done, he's got his bronze.
Few runners home from Paarl as well, lovely part of the Western Cape, and Fuleni runner coming home as well, just in the allotted time. So all these athletic clubs represented. Oh, I don't think these athletes are going to be finishing. They've got to cover this distance from just outside the stadium to the finish line, all inside Kingsmead Stadium and across the grass towards the finish line. It's not going to be happening for these athletes to finish inside the bronze medal cutoff time. A few entering the stadium here, if they hurry it on a bit, could be able to get across the finish line in
minute
time.
and a half.
But it's going to take a mammoth effort from here, and having expended all this energy in the build-up to this finish, it may very well end in disappointment for those who are hoping to finish in under 11 hours. Another of the Westville Athletic Club. On Hillcrest, is that Villages?
Hillcrest Villages being
Yes.
helped by a Westville runner. And they have a minute to get round that track. They're not going to make it.
Certainly not going to be making it.
You need to be able to do a Usain Bolt now, and nobody who's done 90 kilometers has legs like Usain Bolt.
After 89 kilometers, trying to cover the final 280 meters, it's absolutely grueling race, and the conditions have not helped many of the athletes. 45 seconds to go at this bronze medal cutoff. After this, 1 hour to go to complete the Comrades Marathon of 2014. Another of the Jeppe Kwandam athletes crossing the finish line. It's a hard day's slog. Some of those who you would regard as veterans in the 60-plus age category crossing in under 11 hours, so doing themselves a great service. This race has crushed its fair share of egos over the years. Some athletes, of course, been brought to their knees, but it's also created so many heroes. 5 seconds to the bronze medal cutoff. The countdown has continued, and it looks like there's a huge gap. Not going to earn a bronze medal, unfortunately. It was a dive for the line, a lunge for the line, but he'll be greeted with a disappointing message that he will not be gaining a bronze medal, but rather a Vic Clapham. And I can tell you that down at the finish line, we've got a Comrades finisher in himself, a Comrades medalist, Kwena Mwabelo, standing by with, it looks like to be an SAPS athlete.
Well, Willie is the last bronze medal for the day. Congratulations. How does it feel?
I think it's very tough. It almost killed me, but I'm so happy I made it. I'm a comrade.
You were sprinting. You sprinted right there, and I saw you like you were pulling a muscle. You gave it your all.
I think that was my all, but I'm very glad. I said thanks to the supporters. Without them, I couldn't have done it.
This is your second one. Is this an improved time?
Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, Dwayne, that is the man who gets the final bronze medal for 2014. So the last runners that will be coming in the hour will obviously be coming in to get the last medal. All right, we're going to try and see if we can get more people who missed out at this people. And of course, another runner down here, he's cramping badly. So I will grab someone. Kanyiso. Njani baba?
Yeah, Peter,
Usizwa njani?
I'll be better.
You'll be better. Now, you just missed out by a couple of seconds on the bronze medal. What was your plan? What was your aim?
My plan was 10:30, and I just battled.
What happened on the road? Is there something? Was it the weather, or it's just one of those days?
I don't think it was the weather. I think it was just one of those days. I battled. I think I started far too early. And yeah, it didn't work out.
All right, congratulations on your run today. Okay, sure. That's Kanyiso, one of those runners who just missed out there. Couple of seconds on the bronze medal for this Comrades Marathon 2014. Back to our commentators.
Thank you very much, Quinn Amuabelo. He knows all about the struggles indeed, the turmoil, the emotion of finishing this great race, the ultimate human race. Comrades Marathon 2014 coverage continuing live on SABC2. You can tweet us, of course, hashtag Comrades 2014. Some Instagram. We'd love to see some more pictures as well from out on the race. Now, certainly, Bruce, I mentioned Alan Robb, I mentioned Louis Massain coming home, two real legends of this race. And as a legend yourself, you wanted to make a mention about somebody out on the road.
Yes, I've just had a quick break with a lot of the other Comrades winners, and they all together collectively want to send their very best wishes to George Klaassen back in Blobergstrand, the 1961 winner. We understand he's not well. Father of Wynand Klaassen, rugby Springbok captain. George, we're all thinking of you. Hope you're watching the broadcast and hope you're enjoying it, and stay strong, because we want to see you at next year's Comrades as one of the guests.
Now, as other finishers continue to come in and will be earning themselves a Vic Clapham medal, comfortably earning themselves a Vic Clapham medal, but not able to quite claim the bronze medal at the 11-hour cut-off. We have, just to talk about the 20th World Congress of AIMS, as it's known, effectively the governing body for marathon and ultra-distance running. As the emotion continues in the grass leading up to the finish line, let's take a look back at what happened at the 20th World Congress of AIMS, the first time it was hosted in on the African continent. In 2014, the Association of International Marathons and Distance Races, or AIMS, hosted its first World Congress in Africa.
Well, in 2009, our Congress, we realized that it was a shame that the best continent in athletes was maybe the weakest in organization point of view. So we decided to have a special focus on promoting and doing our job in Africa. So I'm Spanish, so from Spain it has been easier to start with, let's say, the North African races in Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, even Libya. And then we have our contacts here, so we promoted and we tried to have a board member from South Africa, with Gary Boshoff, in the last Congress in Prague. And we decided in Prague that should be the next Congress of AIMS.
Cheryl Wynne of the Comrades Marathon Association is pleased with the focus of the Congress.
The theme of the Congress, seeing as it's come to Africa for the first time, is Africa, home of distance runners. And so this morning we spent a lot of time talking about the emergence and the dominance of African runners in world road running. And we've also looked at we've had a few elite athletes, individual elite athletes, give their own perspectives and share with us how they got where they did, how the obstacles they had to overcome.
And as part of the Congress, some of the Comrades Marathon legends, including Bruce Fordyce, Jackie Meckler, Alan Robb, Leonard Schwetzhoff, Andrew Kelehe, Frith van der Merwe were honoured at a glamorous gala event. And a tribute to a couple of the Comrades legends at the AIMS Congress as well. The legends being honoured at this race. Of course, you mentioned legendary figures of the Comrades Marathon, and Frith van der Merwe, that 1980 run race just stands head and shoulders above any other performances in the women's race. More runners coming home, some looking a little more comfortable than others, but these are runners who are earning themselves a Vic Clapham medal for finishing in the final hour of this grueling event. It's been a full day. They've seen the sun rise, and they're about to watch the sun set as they head towards Kingsmead Stadium for the final few hundred meters of this phenomenal race. But a sense of achievement, no doubt, for those that are crossing the line. As personal as this race may be, many bonds we've seen being forged out on the road as well. Oh, that's a little romance. And certainly we hope a married couple, yes. DHS Old Boys Club, another couple seemingly coming home, certainly running in the same colours, but a lot of emotion that is out in the final stages of this Comrades Marathon, finishing comfortably. These athletes, real journeys of self-discipline, self-satisfaction. And Dr. Ross Tucker, William Tolo alongside in the closing stages of this Comrades Marathon. Still a huge contingent of fans, people that are gathering to watch, friends, family members, and indeed just add support and encouragement for those crossing the finish line. They realise the struggle. Some of the international athletes as well, an Australian athlete coming across the line successfully.
Yeah, I mean, you can see in the bottom left of screen is the number of finishes so far. So that's 7,648. We know that there were just a shade over 14,000 who started. So that means that there are 6,600 people still somewhere on the road between Durban and Maritzburg. Now, we don't obviously expect all of them to finish, but around another 4,000 to 5,000 people will finish in the next 45 to 50 minutes. And so that explains why there's so many people in the stadium, because the vast majority of this field will finish in the last 45 minutes of this race.
But certainly, it's amazing though when people were given 11 hours to finish the Comrades Marathon, the large percentage, of course, would finish in the final hour of the race. When it was shifted to 12, a similar sort of stories. A few times became a little slower. Annie Harmsworth at 57 is finishing this race, 21st Comrades Marathon that she has completed. It's a phenomenal achievement to have run not only 20 but to run with a double green number. Annie Harmsworth, huge congratulations to her, coming home not looking overly comfortable, but she will be very satisfied. She's run now in a double green number. Will she be going for triple green, I wonder?
Oh yes, definitely. She was so happy to finish the Comrades Marathon 2014. And say bona ke into was endala laphana ke eseyihlamisa amashumi amahlanu eminyaka noma ke sibona ukuthi sokunzima ngempela ngoba ke phela kade xa ligijima nje sokunzima kodwa ke seyabona ukuthi hayi no, I'm very close to the finish. Angithi ukuphakama esinyawo noma ngangigijime ke ngingasayitholanga le medal engifisa ukuyithola, kodwa ke isikhathi sinqobile sona ngoba sithela sisiphele isikhathi ngabe singaphakathi ke sibabukeli lapha emakhaya ke singasho ukuthi ke basebaningi ngempela abagijima bangakaqedi, ngoba cishe abagijima bangakaqedi kusasele nje abantu abasasele abangakaqedi abangaphezulu kwa 5,000 okufanele baqede the next hour elilandelayo ungakashayi i-cut off time. Sayibona ke into kwazi ngempela ukuthi ke ikhathele, kodwa ke inomuntu oyisizayo laphana, bayasizana ukuthi no asifinishe sobabili. Siyayibona ibhandishini laphana kusho ukuthi bokunzima ngempela lento abayenza, akuyona into elula. Nawe lapha emakhaya ngiyacabanga ukuthi uyafisa ukuthi no, one day I must run Comrades.
You can see we were just talking about these two athletes coming in hand, and on the right was Annie Harmsworth, who's doing a 21st run, and you would have seen some green tape around both knees. That's always a dead giveaway that the athlete was carrying some kind of a niggle or little injury into this race. And that tape, and there's some debate about this even among physiotherapists, is meant to try and stimulate the activation of the muscles, in this case around the knee, to try and help keep that knee a little bit more stable. There's some debate as to whether it is truly effective or not, but certainly it does help many athletes, and hopefully Annie has benefited from that, and she will get her 21st medal today.
Running with, I think it's Lucy Harmsworth, who's done so much. Annie Harmsworth running rather with Lucille Huckleberry, who's done so much for women's running in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. Oh, pink iPhone cover, well, that's interesting. Phone covers, of course, different colours, different shapes, different sizes, and of course different patterns on them. It's the same for the runners though, some coming out, a Christmas cap. It's not Christmas in June, but there's a sense of celebration and festivity perhaps. It's the same, more messages and banners, some are emotional, others proposals. Another little bus coming in.
It's incredible to see. You know, we're going to talk at the end of this day, 12,500 maybe finishes, thereabouts, and there will be 12,500 unique stories and 12,500 purposes. We've seen some people are running in memory of those who've passed in the last year. We saw Zola Budd running for, well, really to raise awareness about her former coach who is in a prison in Yemen. We've seen athletes here, we've seen an athlete with a pink ribbon running for breast cancer. So there are so many purposes, so many reasons to do this journey from Maritzburg to Durban. And those of you sitting at home wondering why would you do it, well, that's the first question you have to answer, because if you know why, then the how takes care of itself.
Siyayibona-ke intokazi endala phana uDake sekuze kwalunga ngoba naye-ke iyafinisha nawo njengamanje. Siyabona ney'ngane ezincane laphana ziyajabula zisibona omama ogogo begijima nobaba zizonika isapoti phela ngoba phela ngale kwesapoti ngampela akusoze kwamnandi. Siyayibona enye intokazi laphana-ke izigqokele ezayo engathi-ke igijimela nje nokuthi no, I'm just running to finish.
Well, we saw Minnie Dlamini out on the course, but this is Minnie Mouse coming in, Noriko Shigeta. Japanese name. I wonder if it's a Japanese athlete, but certainly there's a great culture of cartoon.
And then also, Dwayne, just behind her in the yellow, you can see a gentleman running in those 5-fingered shoes. These are the running shoes that are meant to simulate barefoot running. So it goes to show that you can make it all the way from Pietermaritzburg to Durban, even wearing those shoes. There is some controversy. In fact, the company that makes them has just settled a $3.75 million lawsuit for making certain false advertising claims. But without question, there are some runners who benefit enormously from running quote-unquote barefoot in shoes, of course, which is a paradox. And that was one of them who's actually finishing Comrades wearing those running shoes now.
So the Japanese athlete, she is coming into the stadium now, about to complete this race. Would you believe Noriko is running in the costume of Minnie Mouse? And she certainly doesn't look it, but she's apparently 61 years old.
She's here for her 4th journey. So
and she's looking strong.
So it's a regular visitor to our shores to bag this medal. So that's wonderful to see.
Wonderful indeed. As one of the, certainly one of the more colourful characters, flamboyant, is the costumes that you see in and around the Comrades Marathon, synonymous with some of the finishers who come in more, they're coming towards the end of the Comrades Marathon in the allotted time of 12 hours, running for causes, running for friends, running for a very specific cause generally. Perhaps just running for a little bit of fun and light entertainment, running in the costume of Minnie Mouse. And as the runners continue to stream in here, closing stages as we enter the last 45 odd minutes of this ultimate human race. Let's take a look back at the 3-day event at which runners got to register, the Expo. The 2014 Bonitas Comrades Expo opened at the Durban Exhibition Centre on Thursday, the 29th of May, 3 days before race day of the world's oldest and largest ultramarathon. The Expo serves as the official registration venue for the Comrades Marathon, but boasts over 100 exhibitors displaying a range of products for experienced and inexperienced runners alike. South Africa's largest running-related expo, the 3-day event showcases everything from sports goods to training aids, nutritional supplements to energy products, and information on the various charities associated with the Comrades Marathon. The section is dedicated to the history of this magnificent race, dating back to its first running in 1921. And just when you think you've seen it all, think again. A few helpful hints and products for those irritations. Some need superhuman strength to run the race, others need superhuman talent to fold clothing. Helpful products for those living out of a suitcase. And between browsing and buying, there's always a chance to swap stories and advice with fellow runners from different provinces, countries, and even continents. And if that weren't enough, you can have a medical checkup too. Courtesy of Bonitas, you can have numerous conditions tested, including blood pressure, heart rate, and cholesterol. The 2014 Bonitas Comrades Expo, it truly is a festival of running. Well, from the Festival of Running to the Festival of Running. Wow, a 30th consecutive Comrades finish. Is that Zirk Lawrence? That name rings a very distinct bell. I know he was going for triple green, isn't he? A member of the, I think he's a member of the South African Air Force, if I'm not mistaken. Zirk Lawrence rings a very familiar bell.
It's an impressive performance to do 30 in a row. We've seen a few actually. Louis Massain got his 42nd. Alan Robb did 40 on the bounce, consecutive Comrades. And I mean, when you think about the training required plus having to deliver on the day, that's some serious longevity. And the ability to stay injury-free is maybe the most impressive thing in those athletes.
It is the 59-year-old Colonel Zirk Lawrence, Senior Staff Officer of Logistics in the South African Air Force. And he is a man who is completing his 30th consecutive Comrades Marathon. He's aiming for 40 consecutive. That's his aim. But we saw Zirk Lawrence entering the stadium. There he is, the banner coming home. That's a remarkable achievement, Willie. It's something that you don't see too often, and certainly can be very proud of that.
Yeah, siyazibona ngaphela insizwa lapha ukuthi ke kube ngaphela kunzima kade ziqale zigijima. Siyabona ukuthi ke lensizwe ezindala ekade ziqale zigijima zikhathele manje kodwa ke zithi hayi ngoba sesiyafinisha sasibamba nje na, and siyabona ukuthi ngendlela abafinisha ngawo manje bafinisha baningi ngaphela kube ngeke ngasho ukuthi silindele abantu abangacishe bangaphezulu kwa 4000 kufanele bafinishe kulesikhathi kungaze kushaye i-cut off time. Siyabona insizwe seyigijimeke ongamashumi amathathu igijima i-Comrades. Uyayibona ukuthi ijabule nje kakhulu insizwe SA finisha njengamanje kanti nayo insizwe laphana igijima umhlathuza Tigerbag. Siyabona ukuthi amaklabhu maningi lana ngampela agijimayo laphana aqhudelana ngampela insizwa ziyabona hayi zijabule ngampela zithi next year nakanjani zizabuya zogijima lapha futhi iyona i-Comrades Marathon.
Well, he's certainly soaking it in. He made the most of that finish straight, and well he might, because that's obviously something you're only going to do once. Very few people get to do it once, and so big congratulations to Colonel Zirk Lawrence on 30 consecutive Comrades finishes.
That is a remarkable achievement. Running is supposed to be this primal, natural thing. It's supposed to be easy, Dr. Ross Tucker, but over 89.28 kilometers, very few people are able to master that. But it just shows that if you go about it in a smart fashion, you can actually go on and complete this, despite the incredible physical demands that this race imposes on the human body.
Yeah, this is a big challenge. Just as I mentioned previously, the training required, because you're not going to get off the couch and run this. You have to do your time, as it were, before you make the journey, and then just to get everything right on the day. Actually got a tweet a little while ago from someone wanting to know whether you could compare Comrades, 89 kilometers of it, to the Cape Argus Pick and Pay Cycle Tour, which is of course a 109k cycle race. The short answer is no. Running, and I say this with the utmost deference to cyclists watching, running the same distance as you cycle is a lot more challenging. We always used to work on a formula of 1 to 3, so 89 k's of running, you're looking at about 270 k's worth of cycling to make it more or less equal. And the main reason for that is the impact. You know, you're landing over 89,000 meters, you're landing 90,000 times on your legs, and that takes a significant toll on the joints and the muscles, and that's the reason so many runners are walking and hobbling and cramping, and all the drama that we'll see over the next 40 minutes is mostly because of that.
I'd probably take a month to get that many strides in, and my movements all around wherever I might go, sometimes the shopping mall, sometimes a five-a-side soccer field. DHS Old Boys making their way into the stadium, but I can tell you that Gwena Moabello has managed to find Colonel Zirk Lawrence, a 30th consecutive finish for him. And let's cross down to Gwena, standing with a very proud SANDF employee.
Well, a fantastic milestone indeed, sir. Congratulations, 30. How did it feel today? Any different from the first 29?
Yes, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Yes, a lot different. I would have not been here. I only got 435 kilometers since January. I had a very serious injury in my back, but with the Lord's blessing and will, I made it, and I'm very thankful.
Now, you did not have enough preparation, as you say, but how was it on the road today?
It was very warm, humidity. Luckily, no berg winds. The spectators, excellent. The support, excellent. As always, Comrades number one.
You've done it 30 times. Does it feel the same way when you cross this finish line?
No, I think the emotion that is involved, because it's a lifestyle. Every morning to 4:15 on the road, family commitment. So there's a lot of emotion. Yes.
In terms of looking at the fact that you did not have enough preparation, what time were you looking at?
I told my family I would be here in the last 10 minutes, and I surprised myself. I could have been here in 11. But 18 minutes, so what? I'm here. I'm happy.
Congratulations, Zach.
Thank you very much.
Well, Zach Lawrence, who has done 30 Comrades marathons, a milestone and achievement indeed. Back to the commentary team.
Sibonile ngempela ka insizwa laphana isitshena ukuthi ke seyigijime ama-comrades awu-30 elandelana kazi wena lapha ekhaya uthi uyagijima nenike awu-30 elandelana ungakaze uphumule ugijima yonke iminyaka. Siyayibona ke into owazi laphana nayo and nayithi hayi ke namhlanje la ngizawufinisha le Comrades marathon ke. Siyabona ngempela ukuthi bengeke ngasho ke babuke lapha maka ukuthi ke sokuqala ukuthi ngempela kuphithizeleke manje na ke sozoqala kube khona futhi abantu abaphatha ama-cramp basizana. Siyabona ukuthi le spirit se-Comrades sinjalo akusho ukuthi mamshiya omunye umuntu ungakwazi ukumsiza embone senkingeni. Kuyasizwana lana njengoba ubona nje na bazixoxela abanye amabhizinisi thola ukuthi sowunophathi sowunomngani wakho nje oxoxa naye from usukela ekuqaleni uze kuzofinisha njengamanje. Abanye siyabona ukuthi ke bayaziwokhela nje bayahamba kodwa hayi ke mina namhlanje na akulona usuku lami kodwa ke ngifuna ukwenza nje ukuthi nje ngiyiqede imarathon lena ke ngempela siyabona ukuthi bazoyiqeda ngempela ngoba ke sebeseduze phela ukuthi bafike lapha e-stadium.
Runners with green numbers, some with yellow going for their green numbers, some with their double green numbers completing the Comrades Marathon now. Some doing it for themselves, some doing it for others. Ultimately, as they make their way into the stadium, nearing the finish line, I can tell you it's nearing the time as well where Ian Laxton will be conducting a live draw. And if you entered the Toyota winter car competition, well, you have a chance to perhaps be driving away in a Toyota Corolla Quest. And we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, more action from the finish and, of course, the live draw for the Toyota Amabidi winter car competition.
Does your skin get so dry it feels like it's cracking? Now with micro droplets of Vaseline Blue Seal. Vaseline lotion deeply moisturizes dry skin and keeps skin smooth and restored for 3 times longer. That's the healing power of Vaseline.
Well inside the final hour of the 2014 Comrades Marathon, and tweets continuing to come in. Hashtag Comrades 2014 if you'd like to tweet us live coverage of the action on race day. And then Instagram as well, if you want to send in some pictures. This would be a wonderful picture for the years ahead. Instagram, hashtag Comrades 2014. There are some things you never want to forget. There are some things, no doubt, you would want to forget. That said, as the tweets continue to come in, we've got a couple of tweets for Dr. Ross Tucker as well. Ross, Ian McDonald is asking, what are your views on Comrades runners popping painkillers like cataflams over the course of the run?
Yeah, she's a loaded question, but thanks, Ian. It's an important one. And I hate to go all doom and gloom on you, but it's one of the things that we try as hard as possible to encourage runners not to do. And the reason is that when you take these drugs, and generally they're called NSAIDs, that's non-steroidal anti-inflammatories. So that's things like Voltaren, Cataflam that Ian mentioned. There's a very high chance when you are also exercising and you are losing fluid through sweat that you go into some serious kidney issues as a consequence of those types of drugs. And in fact, in 1984, 20 years ago, a paper was published, a research article, coming out of the Comrades Marathon where athletes were hospitalized very seriously for sometimes a month after the race. You're in hospital for acute renal failure, and you can attribute that to the use of those drugs. Now, an informal survey shows that around 50% of these runners who started this morning are carrying some kind of injury, and most of them are doing this race with the assistance of those drugs, and it really is so risky. There's a good chance you make the finish line without a problem, but if you do, you're talking serious acute renal failure and long hospitalization. So it's an absolute no-no for that, and thanks for that question, Ian.
So Ian, your question answered from the man behind the science of sport, Dr. Russ Tucker. Willie, these athletes coming in now, still a relatively impressive time. They would have been aiming for sub-12, no doubt, those finishing now and coming home in a fairly comfortable 11:26, 11:27 entering the stadium. 11.5 hours, still very respectable time.
Yes, definitely. Those athletes, they're still going to make it. Siyabuka njengamanje ukuthi-ke lama athlete agijimayo njengamanje sabona ukuthi azoyifinisha irace, asina doubt ukuthi azoyifinisha, kodwa njengoba ngingasho ukuthi basebaningi abagijima bangakafinishi abasasele lana ngoba phela sibukile ukuthi inamba yabantu bebebaningi abantu abagijimayo, futhi nayo inamba iyasho ukuthi bane bangagijimi. Siyabona ukuthi bonke labantu abafinisha njengamanje bakumapheni, phela kuyasho ukuthi kade beqala begijima be-up and down. Siyakhumbula ukuthi le race lena inama up and down, akona nje ukuthi ngampela njengokuthini down run kuyehlela, kodwa akhona ama-uphill.
As the runners make their way into the final stretch, continuing to cross the finish line, there's a great sense of anticipation building near the finish line as well, because in just a moment's time we'll be crossing to Ian Laxton. We'll be doing the live draw for the Toyota Winner Car competition. If you've been SMSing in throughout the duration of this race day, well, you have a chance to be driving away with a Toyota Corolla Quest. As a few enter the final stretch ahead of the stadium, let's get right down to a man who's in the centre of the stadium, Ian Laxton, who's about to present somebody with a car.
Well, thank you very much, Dwayne. And the final formal ceremony of the day is the draw for the lucky draw car for the SMS competition. Over the last few weeks, there's been a competition running nationally for a Toyota Corolla Quest. And one lucky viewer this afternoon will be announced within the next minute, the winner of that car. But let me introduce to you on the stage here, from the far side, Cheryl Wynn, the board member of the CMA, in charge of the charities. In the centre there is Mark Stewart from BDO South Africa, the auditors, keeping the whole thing very, very legal. And closest to me is Andrew Kirby, the Senior Vice President of Toyota South Africa. And perhaps even more important is the motor car behind me over there, the beautiful Toyota Corolla Quest, worth 175,000 Rand. So within the next minute, we're going to announce the winner of that Toyota Corolla Quest. We have in that bowl 20 names, and I'm going to ask Andrew Kirby from Toyota draw out one name. We're going to announce it once, then I will announce it a couple of times, and we'll put it up on the screen. So, Andrew, do the digging and digging and digging. There are 20 names out of the thousands that were drawn by our computer, and open it up. Or just one, only one car. Have a look at it, get your head around the name. Are you ready? The name is
Christina Skosana from Tweefontein.
Christina Skosana, Skosana, from Tweefontein. So the winner of the Toyota Corolla Quest in the Amabidi competition this year is Christina Skosana. There will be a handover. You will collect your car. Congratulations. Well done to Christina Skosana from Tweefontein, the winner of the Amabidi car this year in the SMS car competition. Well done to you. Back to the commentators. That's all from us.
Oh, wow. Christina Skosana, congratulations indeed. A hearty congratulations, Christina Skosana from Tweefontein. You've won yourself a Toyota Corolla Quest, and that is because you have SMS'd in during the course of this race. Oh, it's not a masked ball, no. It is the Comrades Marathon 2014, inside the final half hour now, and these athletes coming home having missed out on a chance of winning a bronze medal, but many of them would have simply been aiming to complete this grueling endurance event, and they've done so fairly comfortably inside the 12-hour cut-off time. That final cut-off will be happening at 5:30 local time. As athletes continue to stream in, we've seen how many look absolutely listless, tired and completely shot in some stages. Ross, there was a tweet coming in saying, how many calories does a Comrades runner actually burn over the course of this race?
Yeah, that's always a fun one to answer, because some people think it's a lot more than this, some people think a lot less. But the answer is that it depends mostly on your mass. And so the heavier you are, the more calories it costs to move your body the 89 kilometers from Maritzburg to Durban. But the general formula is that every kilometer you cover costs you 1 calorie per kilogram. So if you weigh 70, or let's call it 80 kilograms, then running 90 k's will cost you 7,200 calories. And you can equate that to whichever poison you choose. If you are thinking McDonald's burgers, it's about 12 to 15 McDonald's burgers. If you prefer Coke, it's about 17 liters of Coke. And if you fancy a slice of bread, you're looking at about 100 to 110 slices of bread. So you could have a slice of bread every kilometer, and you would reach the finish line having not spent anything in net calorie gain or loss.
I certainly hope that answers the question on how many calories are burned over the duration of this tireless race. Now, speaking of races, this is for, of course, the seniors. You have to be 20 years or older to run in the Comrades Marathon proper. But yesterday they hosted a youth run.
Again, we'll be starting in and ready to go. Yay!
The thinking is the future of athletics and the sport, both middle and long distance running. It's a concept we put in place 5 years ago, and it has grown. This event has now become not only a provincial, it has become a national and an international event. Very much so. It's linked very strongly to the Comrades. KwaZulu-Natal Athletics and Comrades Marathon Association work together to ensure that we get the young people for the future of Comrades Marathon who will be able to run and maybe break the records from South Africa itself. That's how the concept started. So they put resources behind the event. The Department of Sport and Recreation also put resources behind the event.
It's important to us as the province of KwaZulu-Natal, especially at this time when the World Health Organization has released their research report where they are saying more and more of young people are getting obese, and the general community is really unhealthy because people are not exercising. But over and above that, this is part of our program as a response to the National Sport and Recreation Plan that was adopted in 2012. So we are indeed excited to see so many young people getting involved in such activities. This says to us that we have to work harder to ensure that the future of these athletes that we see here today is not compromised.
Fun for the youth run. It's over a shorter distance, of course, but of course an opportunity to see who might be involved in Comrades in future events. Well, it looked like an interesting moustache, but instead I think he's biting onto a bandana or one of those neck coolers perhaps that some runners do enjoy wearing. But for a moment it did look like a rather large handlebar moustache coming in towards the finish line. The lights have come on at Sahara Stadium, Kingsmead, in the stadium into the finish line, where a large majority of runners are now coming across the finish line. We've seen nearly 2,500 runners cross in the last half hour or so. And some struggling here, heavily strapped knees, and runners from the same running club helping one another along. Herbalife and Nedbank club runners making their way slowly but surely, Willie, in the closing stages of this magnificent event.
Siyabona ke insizwa yalaphana yaNedbank ukuthi ke seyibhandishile ngempela kunzima, imlenze ayisagobi phela amabhadi yansizwa lana ngempela iqondile nje manje ayisakwazi ukuthi ingayifukula imlenze, kodwa ke sethi no ngoba phela ke sokusele kancane angene lapha estadium azofinisha, ngizokwazi ngiqede. Siyabona ke omnye laphana ke eclub yakhe ezibisiza embambe lethi no ungabisayeka ngoba vele sokuseduze lapha lazoqeda khona. Asazi ukuthi ke ngempela izokwazi nokuqeda, kodwa ke hayi ngoba siyayibona iyabekezela izokwazi ukuqeda. Siyabona ke nenye intokazi laphana ke eseyikhulile laphana ke egijimela ke iVillagers nayo ithi hayi ngiyabonga kakhulu ngoba ngaziqedile imarathon namhlanje na kodwa next year nakanjani ngizabuya futhi ke siyabona ukuthi ke ama-club ayasizana lana ngempela intokazi ezindala nabo abadala siyabona nensuku Bedford View laphana ziyagijima lezi sukela ekuseni zisuke eMaritzburg kuze kutsho umlanga angisho mna lapha emakhaya ukuthi ke sokuze kwakhanya ogesi baseke eMaritzburg ekuseni kukhanya ogesi baphinde futhi bazoqeda kusakhanya ogesi lapha eThekwini silapha eSahari ke eMdubane lapha eduze kolwandle sibona ngempela ukuthi zigijimile ngempela imlezi ibhlungu phela siyazi ngisabelele manje izobhlungu imlezi.
You might have noticed as Willie was speaking, there was an athlete in tears of joy and I think a little bit of pain, wearing a pink tutu. That was actually Nikki Bolter, who is the daughter of the race's medical director. So she had quite good medical supervision waiting for her at the finish line. Her father Jeremy was there to welcome her, but hopefully she doesn't need anything too serious and she can tick off a Comrades that she has now finished, having been inspired, in no doubt, by her father's presence in the medical tent for so many years.
No doubt. I think the Comrades Marathon meaning a great deal to the Bolter family, and Nikki Bolter completing her very first Comrades Marathon. Congratulations to her, and indeed to Jeppy Quantum runner. I would be remiss if I didn't mention Leta Mokhotsi, 11:17. She came home as one of the Tux athletes, University of Pretoria athletes, seems to be struggling. Let's head down to the finish line, and Kwena Boabelo with a special guest.
All right, I'm standing here with Nikki. Nikki, congratulations, your first Comrades. Did you have an added advantage because your father is a chief medical officer?
No, not at all.
How did it feel?
It was horrible.
Horrible. What happened? Just take us through the emotions from the beginning up to now when you're crossing the line.
I've been nauseous all day and I've cried and I've been sick and but I've done it.
She finished.
But I did it.
Well, thank goodness Daddy's a doctor, so you'll have some time to fix that. Congratulations once again. We'll see you again next year.
Maybe.
Okay. Well, that's Nikki. That's the feeling you have after completing your first Comrades. And actually, she's saying, as one of those people, she's actually saying that it was horrible, and that's the feeling that you get. We're just going to try and get across the finish line and grab some few guys from America here. Can we just have a quick chat with you? Russell, see the flag? You're from America?
Yes, sir.
Is this, just looking at this, you've been here a couple of times. What keeps you coming back here?
We came in 2010, and before that race, I said I'm only doing this one time. When I finished this race, I said I'm going to try to do this every year of my life. It's the most beautiful race in the world.
Let's just bring in Josh and Jensen, your first races, if you can come this side. You guys to the first Comrades. You also, what brought you here today?
We're raising money for clean water for people in Kenya.
We run for Africa. We run for Africa. Every day in Chicago, Illinois, we run for Africa. And this is the biggest day.
Now, coming here today, running your Comrades, 89 kilometers, how did it feel?
This is the hardest thing I have ever or will ever done, but this is the most rewarding thing I've done in my entire life.
I'm sure crossing that finish line feels amazing, doesn't it?
It feels absolutely amazing. I can't believe that I'm here. It's an absolute blessing to be in this country and to participate in such a great event. Truly magical.
Well, congratulations, go grab your medals. There's guys coming all the way from America there. I'm just going to go across the line and see if I can have a chat with more guys coming through. Can I speak to you, Innocentia? Innocentia, congratulations. Your first Comrades. I mean, I can see the feeling. How does it feel to cross that finish line?
I can't explain it because I thought I wouldn't make it because I just buried my dad last weekend. So I'm so happy. Thank you, Daddy.
Now, just take me through the feeling, training for this and actually making it.
It's tough. It's not easy. You wake up very early in the morning, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and it's very cold. But thank you, Jesus. Thank you.
Well, congratulations, you've done it. Go get your medal. Innocentia, they're very emotional, and that is the feeling you get, particularly with the people that are just coming down the line right now. You see, these are the people who have struggled throughout the way. I'm just going to grab one more person. Sean, your first Comrades, you've made it. How was it?
It was good. It was difficult, but we got there in the end.
What brought you here?
I don't know, just the challenge. It's
been something I wanted to do for a couple of years now, and now we got one done.
You look good enough to be coming back next year.
We'll have to think about that.
You have to take a little bit of break. Go grab your medal. Congratulations. Well, that's the feeling we get here with just about 20 minutes, 19 minutes to go before we get the final cutoff. We will see a lot of people coming through, really struggling through. I know the feeling, Dwayne. I've been here a couple of times, and it's an amazing feeling, but it is quite taxing.
Certainly quite contributing we continue to bring you this emotional broadcast, the closing stages of this 2014 Comrades Marathon. Men who've done it before, the tweets continue to come in as well as we approach the final cut-off time. We've seen a car being won by Christina Skosana, a winner today, but certainly all these athletes are winners in their own right, having crossed the finish line, some doing it for charities. Innocentia doing it for her father, Sean Simpson from Varsity Old Boys down in Cape Town, completing his first Comrades. A few American athletes spending the few warm days that we have in Chicago, Illinois, coming out to South Africa to run Comrades Marathon, so they're sacrificing their warm weather. In terms of athletes doing it for themselves, a huge bus of athletes still out on the course, runners hoping to make it home in the closing stages.